So one of the things that we're working on with today's students and today's workforce demands is helping students understand and articulate that what the competencies and the skills and the dispositions that they are learning deeply in these study service settings are communication and collaboration and critical thinking and cross-cultural skills. So to take that story in a job interview and flip it into, here's what I can do for you.
Welcome to Small College America, a podcast dedicated to exploring the role and value of small colleges in higher education. I'm Kent Barnes at Augustana College, and I'm joined by my co-host, Dean Hoke.
Good day, everybody, and we have a very special guest today. We're going to be meeting with Dr. Rebecca Stoltzfus, the 13th president of Goshen College in Goshen, Indiana. Rebecca became president in 2017 after serving as Vice Provost of Undergraduate Education and Professor of Human Nutrition at Cornell. Earlier in her career, she taught at Johns Hopkins, Bloomfield School of Public Health, and her research focused on the causes and consequences of malnutrition among women and children in low-income countries. Rebecca's connection to Goshen runs especially deep. She's a 1983 grad of the college, as is her husband, Kevin, and her father, Victor, also served as president of Goshen College from 1984 to 1996. I think you may be the first person we've had a father-daughter presidency, so congratulations on that. After a career that has included global research and leadership at major universities, she returned to lead her alma mater, bringing both an international perspective and personal commitment to college mission. Rebecca, welcome to Small College America. We're delighted to have you today.
Yeah, wonderful to chat with you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, we're looking forward to this conversation. I'm going to kick things off by asking you to tell us a little bit about Goshen College. How would you describe the student body and the mission of Goshen today? And how have changing demographics of the region influenced the college's identity and recruitment strategy? We'll just jump right into it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So we are in northern Indiana, about 20 minutes from Michigan, and between Chicago and the Ohio border, 137 years old. And you talked about demographics and the student body. One thing that I would say, I would start first with, what have been the through lines over more than a century at Goshen College. And one thing that was our founding motto and is still really lively today is our motto is culture for service. So we see education as having a broad public purpose, a purpose for the common good, to serve the communities in which we live, to serve the church and the world. Our mission reflects that, and we revised the mission statement in 2018, in the second year of my presidency. So our mission currently states that we transform local and global communities through courageous, creative, and compassionate leaders, shaped by Anabaptist Mennonite tradition. And here's the special sauce. We integrate academic excellence with real-world experience and active love for God and neighbor. And I really lean on that a lot. So that is deeply Goshen College, more than a century old, that sort of ethos. But a lot has changed, including the demographics of our student body. I feel very grateful that my predecessor, the leaders of Goshen College, saw the immigration wave coming to Elkhart County and the Michiana region more than 20 years ago, and set a very intentional trajectory to becoming a Hispanic serving institution and broadening the demographic profile of our student body. And we achieved that HSI status in 2023. We're now about 30% Hispanic U.S. citizens in our student body, about 11% students from other nations. We are majority minority, majority Pell eligible, majority first gen college. So that is, that sort of the new student profile is very much reflected here at Goshen College.
Well, thank you for that and great introduction to Goshen. We'll talk a little bit more about your mission. which is broad rather than narrow. And I'll get to that with my next question, but I'll turn it to Dean for his question.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Northern Indiana. I'm down in Bloomington, Indiana, so we're a few miles to the south of you. But Northern Indiana really has been one of the more dynamic manufacturing regions, particularly with the RV industry in Elkhart County. How do you help students and family understand the value, particularly of liberal arts education, in a region that is primarily a blue collar type region and where many paths historically do not require a 4-year degree?
Right. Well, again, we are in, I don't want to make an absolutist claim to this, but we are in perhaps the most manufacturing intensive county in the United States, if not the most, one of the most. So you've characterized us well. Along with that goes a lot of entrepreneurship, strong work ethic, a respect for making things and craftsmanship, and frankly, a respect for labor. And because of the workforce demands of the manufacturing economy, that is what made us such an immigrant-rich community. And immigrant families come with a particular mindset, which the folks who immigrate are people who want to create a better opportunity for their children. So it is really a common circumstance to have a family where the parents are certainly not college educated. Some of them may not be high school educated. And part of their aspiration in life is to create a better pathway for their children. That is felt very deeply in the families and the students that we serve. So our students, again, not all of our students come from, our first, second, third generation immigrants, but quite a few of them are. And they bring a really strong work ethic, an aspiration, a valuation, a high value of private college experience, and just a delight in being at college. The question about work preparation, I'll say in contrast to a liberal arts education, I believe is a false contrast. So we are in a state and an economy that our middle schoolers are expected to say their career path before they leave middle school. And, there's nothing wrong with that, for them to be exposed to different careers in the region and to say, I think I'd like to be this. But the job market is very dynamic. Most of the students that we're educating are going to be in jobs that may not exist right now. And so I think we are living that edge, that creative edge between wanting to meet students' very understandable desire and right for a secure future and a secure livelihood, and also their desire to explore and be curious and discover the variety of majors at Goshen College, and to be adaptable in a future workforce that is really quite unstable and So, again, what comes back from employers broadly writ is they want a workforce that is able to communicate effectively, that collaborates well on teams, and are critical thinkers. And that doesn't happen when you narrowly train somebody for a particular task in the job market. So it's our challenge to meet students where they're at, and also I think convincingly articulate what we believe is a really great value proposition from a liberal arts education.
Yeah. A little bit of a follow-up to this, because you've been mentioning it as you've been speaking, and that's particularly maybe what your particular role, and maybe small colleges in general, in terms of workforce development, and particularly in an area that though I know it's a manufacturing area and everything else, I still perceive that area as a bit more of a rural-like community, and certainly the philosophy of the area. I'm curious how you see overall small colleges and what their role should be in workforce development.
Yeah, I think the particular power that small colleges bring is our embeddedness in our communities and our commitment to our communities. So across the street from us, we have a hospital called Goshen Health. At a recent count, 60% of their bachelor's trained nurses were educated at Goshen College. If you walk down Main Street, you can just point, and it happens at homecoming, alumni owned, Goshen College alumni owned business. So all down Main Street, whether those are, retail shops or cafes or restaurants, there's a kind of nonprofit social sector vibrancy that I think comes from the values and idealism of Goshen College, married with the entrepreneurial spirit of a manufacturing economy. So, I could name the major, really impressive nonprofit entities in our county, and many of them have roots that go to Goshen College.
Ken?
You had mentioned that Goshen is a part of the Anabaptist and more specifically Mennonite tradition, which of course emphasizes things like peacemaking, peace building, service, community. At the same time, you mentioned that Goshen's quite diverse and clearly includes many students who are probably not familiar with Anabaptist traditions and the Mennonite tradition. How does a college like Goshen maintain that faith-based mission while also welcoming students from many backgrounds? And how does Goshen's identity show up in the student experience?
Right. I love that question because it's so alive for us right now. I would say that the Anabaptist tradition came out of the Reformation movement and the Radical Reformation movement. So there's an element of our theology that is essentially deeply pluralistic. I cannot tell you what to believe. It's about adult choice and about peaceable respect for others who are not of your theological background. That's what the movement was built on. So there's that element that runs through us. And at the same time, being Mennonite these days, being any denomination these days, is, it's a creative work when you're educating a society, and particularly a generation that has perhaps historically low trust in organized religion and denominational loyalty and affiliation. So we have just gone through a multi-year process of articulating a new framework for faith formation at Goshen College. And that's been hard and good work, I would say. We have had several retreats, tapped into research, and most of all, did a lot of listening, spoke to many stakeholder groups, and just listened to our community broadly writ talk about what matters about our faith identity. And so we are now living into a new faith formation model, which talks about the elements of it that are in Christ, because we are Christ-centered. In Christ, we are beloved, we are empowered, we are learning, and we are acting in love. And one of the insights for us in working this through is that there is a lot of experience or assumption that belief, if you're in a Christian faith-based community, that belief will lead to belonging. And we came to the insight that at Goshen College, we want belonging to come first. So we have a diversity of beliefs on this campus, and we believe that that enriches our classrooms and our conversations, and that belong is the basis for belief in a Christian community, rather than the other way around. I'll pause there. I mean, I could say more. I think
that's,
time about that.
Yeah, just kind of taking that in. As we look at traditions and we look at where schools come from, let's also talk about one of the, I guess now older traditions really for Goshen, and that's been your program in student service terms, which I
Yes.
believe has existed, since the mid-60s, right?
1968.
Very good. And you sent students around the world for cross-cultural experiences. And in a time right now where many colleges are emphasizing internships and workforce readiness, why has Goshen remained committed to the global service learning? And what impact have you seen on your students?
Yeah, well, we're committed to it because it is a profound expression of our values and our pedagogy. And that is the values that study, education, and service can go hand in hand and be mutually reinforcing to one another. Our study service terms are designed and led by faculty, and they are, relatively small group. I mean, usually 12 to 20 students, sometimes up to 30 at a time, but living and working and serving and studying with faculty who share our values and our pedagogical commitments, our educational commitments. So there's a lot that has stayed the same and that we have stayed true to since 1968. And there's a lot that has changed because the world has changed, economies have changed, our student body has changed. And so I happened to walk in the door a year before the 50th anniversary of our SST program. And so we took a year of real research and self-reflection and held a conference and brought in keynote speakers and that sort of thing. And what we realized was that the model that was created by our faculty in 1968 was not inviting to all of our students these days. And so we took a model that had been really based in post-World War II peacetime, I would say, and expected the norm to be for Goshen College to spend a full semester study abroad in a nation far away with faculty. And we retained the basic learning outcomes there, but we have made it into a much more flexible portfolio of global engagement options, which some of them are now based in the United States, and they vary in length, so that students, regardless of their nationality, I mean, visa issues, international banking issues, perceived and real safety and security issues traveling the world, those are very real concerns of our students and their families. And so we, as we speak, we have students in Indonesia doing a semester abroad there, and we have students in Ecuador doing a semester abroad there. But we also have study service terms now in Native American communities with Mennonite disaster services in relief situations in Puerto Rico, in Guatemala, in India. So we have varied the length and also varied the distance of travel and how many borders you have to cross. So after this design of the curriculum, it is, when people ask me how many students go on SST, my answer is 100%. It is a requirement of our core curriculum, but students do that in a variety of ways.
Right. I want to do a very quick follow-up, and I think this will also hit close to home for Ken as well, since he happens to be one of those students back in the time that did the international assignment. I had to wait a few years before I went international, but I'm very curious what your alumni have to say about the experiences that they have. I mean, now that it's been the years and they've gone through, I'm curious what they have to say about the whole thing.
They care very deeply about this. It's a point of distinction and a point of pride. And for many of our alumni, it is their signature Goshen College experience. Of course, if you ask alumni, what was your most formative experience at Goshen College, you get a wide variety of answers. But boy, that one is right. It is right up there. I think it has to do with, well, shall I go back to our mission statement? I mean, it's that academic excellence of having faculty crafted high impact educational experiences with real world experience and demonstrable active love for God and neighbor. The way we teach and learn in these contexts is border crossing, even, whether you're doing tornado relief in Selma, Alabama, or this May term, our students are doing relief in Hawaii after the fire in Maui. But this is not a far leap from an internship. So one of the things that we're working on with today's students and today's workforce demands is helping students understand and articulate that what the competencies and the skills and the dispositions that they are learning deeply in these study service settings are communication and collaboration and critical thinking and cross-cultural skills. So to take that story in a job interview and flip it into, here's what I can do for you. Let me tell you the story of my service assignment repairing homes in Selma, Alabama, or, whatever it is. I just picked that particular one, but it is not I think one of the things that I feel passionate about is refusing to accept the binary thinking about liberal arts education and workforce development, or about study abroad and workforce preparation and internships and research.
Right. Kent?
What powerful high impact experiences students are able to participate in. Small colleges are oftentimes very much so dependent upon their community. There needs to be a very healthy relationship between the college and the college town. We'd love to know a little bit more about the relationship between Goshen College and the city, and how you and your team of faculty and staff contribute to the community and regional economy. There's such an important relationship between small colleges and their communities.
Yeah. Well, I already spoke about our nursing program and the hospital across the street. On the other edge of our campus is Greencroft Retirement Communities, which is the single largest retirement campus in the state of Indiana. And so that also provides just really good engagement with the college in terms of, kinesiology and exercise science, working with elders, but also nursing practicum hours. And there's a lot of possibilities there. We partner with our school systems. So we have a teacher education program, education department. And so school systems are definitely our partners, as are, the very large manufacturing and supply chain networks of industry in our county. But I would add to that this vibrant social sector that we find in Elkhart County. So the Center for Healing and Hope, and Child Protective Services in Elkhart, and housing initiatives. And one of the things that we've really worked hard to do over the past several years is level the playing field in terms of student wage and cost to participate in a variety of types of workplace internships, because we have some employers that are happy to pay wages to our interns, and others that struggle to pay wages, period. So really wanting to make that not a barrier for our students in the world of internships.
Well, I think we are coming to our last question, which has always been, for us, it's been the future question. And in particular, I'd like you to get out your crystal ball or find something back there that you might want to look into. And I kind of like to go into, what do you see as the capabilities that you believe small colleges, particularly like Goshen, may strengthen now to remain resilient and relevant? This has been very difficult times, as you know, over the last couple of years for small colleges. And do you think Goshen specifically, what gives you the greatest confidence about the college future?
Our faculty. We have terrific faculty. They are really dedicated, outstanding educators. They care deeply about teaching, from the first year experience all the way to the senior seminars and research papers. Our faculty have made this transition with the demographics of our students over the past 20 years with, I would say, extraordinary creativity and grace. Because when your classroom changes, so do you as an educator. And so I would begin there. I have confidence about the college's future because I have a great deal of confidence in our faculty. I think it helps us as a liberal arts college that our mission is not selective or elitist. We have never been that. I mean, Mennonites are not that. We are salt and light. We're people of the land, and we are student serving, and we're embedded in our community. So I don't get turned into a pretzel by, the tensions between the ivory tower and small town America. And that's really refreshing. And I think I have confidence in our future because we are a place where students matter. And I think that's what young people are looking for. They're looking to be seen, to be heard, to feel that they matter in the world, that they have a community that is going to stand behind them and walk with them into their future.
Very good. Kent, I'll have you lead us out.
Well, thank you, President Stoltzfus, for taking time to introduce our listeners to Goshen College. Such a distinctive and interesting and historic mission, and providing us with a little bit of an educational background also in Anabaptist and Mennonite tradition. So thank you very much. For those of you who are listening or viewing, if you would like to learn more about Small College America, please visit our website at w.smallcollegeamerica.net, where you can find details on upcoming episodes, contact us, suggest topics or guests that you would like us to have on the podcast. This episode of Small College America is made possible with underwriting support from Edu Alliance, a higher education consulting firm that champions small colleges and the communities that they serve. President Stoltzfus, thank you once again for joining us today. On behalf of our guest, President Becky Stoltzfus, my co-host Dean Hoke, and myself, thank you very much for joining us.